welcome back to Bridging the Gap. Thought I'd take a few moments and just talk a little bit about what's going on, what we are going through in the future, and just some of the current issues. In this first part, I want to go over Bridging the Gap. The name Bridging the Gap is not just the name. Bridging the Gap is my attempt to try to help to bridge the gap between mis or disinformation and true information. It started by just wanting the community where I come from, to be able to have some kind of communication within local government. It was never meant to be a political platform, and sometimes it seems like it is because, well, we're dealing with political matters, but what it's always meant to be is to reach and help and inform. Bridging the Gap has been around since, actually, I did some research, and it actually shares something with George Floyd and Charlie Kirk. It shares October the 14th, which is the date that it started over, 4 years ago on that date. And it's still going. It's actually growing. To God be the glory. It's centered around, and always will be centered around, community. Okay? On our show, you may see all different kinds of people on there, and you'll see me, you'll see my First Lady, Keisha, you'll see Bishop Dickerson from the Christian Shelter, you may see Councilwoman Jackson, you may see the County Executive, Julie Giordano, you may see many different co-hosts, okay? Now, with having so many different co-hosts, there are times where someone will say something that is a reflection of them, okay? Now, first and foremost, before I even talk about when people speak on there and who that falls on, anything we do, even though we may use Pack 14 studio, we may use their equipment outside the studio, anything that we do is that of our own thought and feeling, okay? And when you hear me say, these are the thought and feelings of Bridging the Gap, I'm talking about the whole entity. Now, if you hear anyone else saying it, okay, if they're on the show, it does, first of all, it does fall on me if I'm on there. But if there's another local producer and they say that, then that's their thought and feeling. If there is a co-host on the show that says something they shouldn't say, now, first and foremost, no matter who it is, if I'm the person that's editing, if I allow it to stay on there, then yes, I share blame. But whoever that person that's speaking, that is their feeling. And we all have our feelings. We all have our thoughts. And it's nothing wrong with sharing our thoughts. I think more people would speak and communicate more. It would be less violence in the world, less beef that gets just bottled up, aggression and all that kind of stuff like that. But getting back to when people speak, when they speak, it's their thought, their feeling. Okay? And, we don't always have to agree. But if we can just rejoice on those things that we agree upon and pray about those things that we don't, then maybe, just maybe, when people say things, it won't hurt as bad. As I said a few minutes ago, Bridging the Gap is never meant to be a political platform, but we do speak with, deal with those that are elected, okay? Myself, I am a conservative. I am a black Republican. It's kind of unique. I got to say black when I say black Republican, because most people think Republican means somebody that's not black. Well, I have very conservative viewpoints, and I don't never vote a party line, but I am a registered Republican. But that doesn't mean that Bridging the Gap is centered around just Republicans or centered around my feeling, okay? Bridging the Gap is, again, a melting pot of the community. You may see people on there from many different backgrounds, okay? Some may be liberal. Some may be stronger conservative than I am. Some may just be, they just listen to the person and choose there. I'm hoping there's more of those on there. But understand that it takes all. It takes many members to build one body, if you really want to talk biblically, excuse me. But anyway, like I said, when it comes to people that come on the show and they share their opinions and their viewpoints, if we can just respect one another. And now, again, if you ever are uncomfortable with something somebody says on our show, please feel free to reach out to Bridging the Gap at Bridging the Gap 238 at Gmail. But as I was saying earlier, we are a local producer. Even though we use Pac 14's cameras, even though we use all that, we are not Pac 14. We are in no shape or form Pac 14. Okay? So, to think that Pac 14 allows us to say things, now, they don't tell us what to say, they don't tell us what we can't say. However, there are guidelines that we need to follow. And when I upload to Pac 14, I'm going to follow their guidelines. Now, if I upload to our Bridging the Gap YouTube, which I do encourage a lot of people to follow, then yeah, that's all on me. On the Facebook page, yes, that's all on Bridging the Gap. But I just wanted to start out our little talk here about what Bridging the Gap is all about. It started on the west side of this county, and a lot of great things are happening. As you may see us sharing the West Side Parade, you may see us do a little docu-series on We Tip Wyndham, place I love. But there's been a lot of growth because we do show our spotlight. We do shine over there. But there's also Salisbury. Okay, Salisbury is our little mini metropolitan area. Is where a lot of things happen. Okay, Salisbury. If you hear the word Salisbury, you know in Baltimore exactly what we're talking about. So there's a lot of things that we do talk about here in Salisbury. It's all part of Wacomico. There's all other parts of the county. Then there's council meetings you hear us at and stuff like that. But again, all it is just bring information. We have many different points of view. As long as we respect one another, there's nothing wrong with bringing our points of view. But I do not in any way, shape, or form condone racism or belittling anybody for their background or color of skin or sexual preference or any of that. Do I agree with everybody's lifestyle? No. But I respect them as a person because God made no junk when he made each and every one of us. And if we can learn to, as I said a few minutes ago, rejoice over those things that we do agree upon and pray about those things we don't, we might be going somewhere. So, yeah, I just want to spend a couple of minutes talking about that. And we come back, I want to go over some other things and some good points, some things as we're closing out this year we're going to have coming up. Let's stay with us. So, what sets Bridging the Gap separate from maybe other media places? Well, and I'm not knocking anybody else, we don't have an agenda. We work with whoever is working for the good, and we use prayer, we use discernment and discretion, we use the Word of God in order to determine whether or not we should continue to work with people. There may be people that come on our show that you may never see on there again, and it's nothing personal, it's just we're not going to encourage or be a part of the wrong agenda or somebody, or being part of anybody's agenda. There are some people that are elected that have been on there several times, and it's not because we favor them, although we do respect all that are elected, whether we voted for them or not. But those that are elected that choose to come on our show many times, it truly shows some transparency. At least we think so. That's what Bridging the Gap's about. We're not going to talk about them, putting them down when they're not around, or put down anybody unless... We don't try to put down anybody, but we will speak facts. We will speak facts every time. If there's something not right, we'll call it out. But I just want to shout out before I go any further, those elected officials that have came on the show, and then I'm going to highlight a couple of them. Well, and if I leave anybody out, please forgive me. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I didn't really write them down. But as we all know, we've had... April Jackson, Councilwoman April Jackson, my God, she's part of the pillars of Bridging the Gap. She's actually one of those people that we point to as a role model for the community. She's been great. I'm so glad that my Aunt Dottie told me about her lifelong friend, April Jackson, and April took the opportunity to talk to my wife and I, and she's been on there so many times as as a guest, as a host slash guest. She's done Girl Chat with my wife. She's just been outstanding, and I mean, and it's not just on the show. It shows what she does. She does out in the community for the elderly, for the older people, for the veterans, and then when she gets in there on the council there in the city, she stands behind her word. She really does, and she's actually took some shots at her because of the fact she comes on our show, because she does speak her mind. We respect her so much. So yeah, we have April Jackson's been on our show. We've had Councilman James Wynn from the county council. Big ups to him. We've had Mayor Ben Jordan's been on our show before, and he's the mayor of Delmar. We've had the mayor of Salisbury, Mayor Randy Taylor, as he was a guest at another function that I'm a part of, and he allowed us to video that and brought that on the show. So we've had some great people who have been elected on our show. As I'm thinking about it, we've had our county executive, and she's been on there, like April Jackson. She's been like a permanent person. She was actually one of our very first guests, and we also do executive decision each month with her, when she allows many different people in the community to come in and talk to her, and she's just been really good, and I really do appreciate that. We've had the county council president, John Cannon, who actually, just want to give John his props on this. He was the one that actually told me about PAC 14, about this public access channel, and being able to get on there and do a show and stuff. And so he's been on our show, and I do appreciate that. We've had Councilman Jeff Merritt. He's from the county council. He's been on there, and him and I, we chopped it up for a little bit there, and I thought that was, very educational. Like I said, yeah, we've had some great elected officials come on there. We are looking forward to, as we extend our hand to everyone that's elected, to please come on our show. Please come talk to us. Let people know, let your constituents know where you stand on things. It's election season about to happen, and my wife and I have been doing some praying about what part we're going to take in that. And we want to be impartial, but we want to help to be the information center. So as we're getting closer, we've had one person on for the Board of Education. Shout out to the Kanisha Lacole. We've actually had her on there a couple of times. She's not elected yet, but she's a repeat offender on our show. Not many others going for the board. Of course, they got until February, but a lot of people have been just really opening up to us. And we've had people, great community leaders on there. We've had Jermichael Mitchell, who known him from a young man on up to where we at now, which is middle-aged man. Great leader, and people know him all over the place. He's just a great guy, but he's been on there many times. We've had Colin, who's one of our co-hosts. He's strong in his views. He's also conservative. He's very outspoken. And actually, my wife and I call him, wherever he is, he's family. I was actually blessed when Colin came around. I first met him. We got to talking about God, and that's the first works. That's the first thing. No matter what we're doing, my first thing is to make sure I put God first. So I started talking to Colin about God, and I invited him to church, and him and one of his acquaintances came to church on a communion Sunday. He wanted to do communion, but he wanted to make sure he does a little bit more. So we talked about commitment, repentance, and also water baptism. Long story short, went down to the Nanticoke River, and even though he's 6'10", and I'm about 6'2", maybe shrinking because I'm getting older, I was able to baptize him. But long story short, he's also very strong in his political beliefs, but he's also been a host many times on our show, and we love him for it. We appreciate it. We've had Michael Langford. He's another great community leader. I think one day he's going to be on the council somewhere, rather city or county. But in the I guess you can't say biblical. In the spiritual world, we've had Bishop Anthony Dickerson, who he is a bishop. Not only that, he's the executive director of the Christian Shelter. He's like one of the pillars, like I said, April Jackson is. He's one of them holding us up. He's been with us since day one. Also, we've had Pastor Craig Mitchell, who is also a great man of God, and him. He's actually been helping us with praying for our community. We've done several prayer vigils that he's been the one to set it up, and looking forward to doing more work with him. We've had Brother Gavin Stevens, who did some work with Halo, is a great community leader, and I'm looking forward to doing more things with these people. I'm just want to say Bridging the Gap does not, and a lot of those people there are Republican, a lot of them are Democrats, a lot of them are independent. So it's not about a political party. We want to have everybody. And if you're listening right now and you've got an idea and you want to come on and talk, and you can be respectful about your views on different things, even when we do chop it up and talk about things, please reach out to us, bridgingthegap238@gmail.com, and we would love to have you on the show to be a part. There's others that have been on our show. We've had Adam Corey, who's doing a phenomenal job up for the county. I'm just trying to think, there's just been so many. There's a young man that was running for a delegate, or not delegate, he was running for Congress. He was in our earlier years. Terrence, his name was Terrence. He's running. We had B.J. Hall that's running for delegate, and we just had everybody on that show, and we were looking forward to this, working with so many more, so many different people from many different backgrounds. We talked a lot about this year about the rent being too high, which it is, people not being able to afford where they're living. We talked a lot about mental illness, a lot about the homeless, but we've also had to talk about corruption in politics. And again, we're not a political platform, but we will talk about it. It's just, like I said, it's just been a really busy year, and we're looking forward to being just as busy in the year to come. But again, I do want to shout out two elected leaders that are just been clutch, and they've been very transparent, and you've heard me talk about them a little bit, and looking forward to actually having them both in studio at the same time and do a segment or two with them. But I'm talking about our county executive, Julie Giordano, and Councilwoman April Jackson. They both are strategically placed in our life by God. My wife and I truly believe that. And our county executive, who she's just been a fighter. She's been very open and honest about why she's made decisions she has. And Councilwoman Jackson, the longest tenure she's been on the county or city council longer than anybody else, and she's still the pivot person, I feel. Even if it seems like politics is not giving her rightful respect there, she's still been very pivotal in many people growing. Shout out to Tyler Jones, who also comes on our show. Don't want to leave him out. He's a great young man. He actually gives a lot of props to April, because she really is a great leader. So her and our county executive, I just want to give them a big thumbs up. Big thumbs up for just being available. While I'm talking about that, I'm also just thought about two other people I didn't mention. We've had two more men of God, actually. Mark Thompson, who Brother Mark, he's done so many things. I've known him from the Salvation Army Boys Club on the west side, and how he worked with the kids there, and then how he worked with White-Comfort County Schools, and how he just helped out the student relation, or knowing about just working with parents, and he's still doing that now, and also in ministry and Adopt a Block. But we had him on the show, and it was really good to see him there, seriously. And then also the DOA, I like to call him the DOA. He's the Director of Administration for Wycomico County, and that's Bunky Luffman, also known as Bunky Thomas Luffman. But he's been on our show a couple of times now, and he's like the highest ranking non-elected official for this county, and he's really doing a lot of things. He's doing a lot of great things, and as I said, we're not stopping here. There's so much more to get out there.